I'm Doug Green. I'm here with Tim Allison, a candidate for California's 24th District seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Tim, welcome to Video Voter.
Welcome.
What, in your opinion, is the big issue that's facing folks in your district and your approach to it?
Well, there's actually quite a few big issues, but first and foremost, the economy. People are worried about jobs, what's happening next, whether their retirement is secure. They're worried about the economy and what happens next. They're also worried about what happens on the national level and the debt that we're generating and what kind of legacy we leave to the next generation.
So you mentioned the economy. Jobs is are on everybody's mind.
Right.
What can you do at the national level to stimulate job growth for citizens here?
Right. You know, the national statistics kind of parallel what I see going door to door. When I knock on doors, probably about 1 out of every 10 doors of people that I talk to, they say, hey, I'm out of work, I'm looking for work. The common thread is that people want to work. They want the dignity that comes with a job. They're not looking for a handout. They're looking for a job to be able to provide for themselves and their family. In Washington, D.C. can't be the only answer, but it has to be part of the answer. We need to make sure that we're using the tools of government to be able to help create jobs. We should be stimulating the local economy in smart ways. We should be providing short-term jobs while we provide community long-term benefits. For instance, by putting solar panels on our local schools, by rehabbing schools, by renovating them and making them weatherized, especially in other parts of the country. But solar panels here in Southern California makes perfect sense. And we can provide short-term jobs while at the same time providing long-term community benefits. It's a win-win situation, and those are the kind of things we should be looking at. We should be looking at the great local programs. Like in Santa Barbara County, they're trying a program where individuals can put solar panels on the roofs of their homes or provide renovations and pay that off over the long term. They can pay it off over 30 years through their property taxes. It's a win-win program. It provides short-term employment, long-term benefits to the homeowner. They pay it back while they're saving on their energy costs. Those kind of programs, it's being hung up, it's hung up right now at the federal level because we've got to work through some things. But with some leadership in Washington, we can take those kind of programs and make them the standard by which everything else is measured. We can take programs that put people back to work and solve other community problems at the same time, but we need the leadership to be able to do it.
Great. Well, you mentioned things getting hung up at the federal level, and
right.
Opinion about Congress is at an all-time low right now. What would you do in the position if you were elected to restore people's confidence in Congress?
Well, opinion is very low of Congress, and it's an opinion that I would say that the blame is bipartisan in nature, because the problems in Washington are not problems just of the Democratic Party or problems of the Republican Party. They're problems that are pervasive throughout our system. We have a system right now where individuals, it no longer matters how good the idea is. It matters who proposed it. If it's a Democratic idea, Republicans have a knee-jerk reaction that they're opposed to it. But the same goes if it's a Republican idea, the Democrats are knee-jerk reaction opposed to it. It doesn't matter about the quality of the idea, it matters who proposes it, and that's one of the things we need to change. Elected officials are public servants, and they should be there to represent their constituents. Their job should be making people's lives easier and better, as opposed to this partisan bickering that goes on in Washington right now. For good reason, people are saying, hey, I'm not voting for incumbents because they're part of the problem, especially if they've been there a long time. And I'm seeing that across the district as we go door to door. It's not just Republican households, it's Democratic households as well that people say, I'm frustrated with what's going on in Washington, and these folks just don't get it. And we're seeing that as we look across the country. The entrenched incumbents, regardless of party, right now they're the endangered species, and there's some good reasons for that.
Well, say something about your background, experience, approach that would bring a fresh, more collegial approach there.
Well, on many of the things that I've done, where I've been the most successful, I've been able to bridge the divide. I've been able to bring people together. For instance, in Santa Barbara County, there was a major issue with ocean and creek pollution. Beaches were being closed, signs being posted, because because of the quality, the water quality and the problems with runoff, beaches were being closed, and in a tourism-based economy, has a major impact on the economy. People don't want to come and visit a place where the sign says beach closed, it's too polluted for your kids to swim here. We brought together, I was the campaign manager of an effort, we brought together the environmental community and the business community. We turned to hotel owners and said, this affects you. Over the long run, if this continues to happen, you lose business. And so we brought together the environmental and the business community, and we said, we need to be able to address this problem. Our efforts brought in $2 million a year that is being used effectively right now toward cleaning up ocean and creek pollution, and we're no longer seeing the signs that say the beaches are closed. That effort would have never passed had we not had the business and the environmental community together. We need to have efforts like that. We need to be able to reach across the aisles and I've got very good friends that are Republicans. This district is not a partisan district. This is a moderate district. And for someone to be successful in this district, I think they have to have a moderate approach. They need to be able to keep their eye on job creation and business development. They need to have a smart approach to creating businesses.
It creates that partisan
Absolutely.
or nonpartisan reaching across the aisle.
I'm a small business person. I'm the president of the Ventura County Small Business Coalition. That background will serve me well as a member of Congress. I've got a background working with the environmental community, with the labor community, with the business community, and the kinds of problems that we're facing in Washington are problems that need to be addressed with the public's best interest in mind, not with the Democratic Party's best interest, not with the Republican Party's best interest. But the time has come to shift focus toward doing the things that are best for the people in your district.
Good. I want to shift and talk a little bit about education. Education has taken a big hit in your district, and I want to know if there are things that can be done at a federal level to help restore some of the funding that's been lost and get schools at the local level the funding that they need.
Mm-hmm. Well, education is perhaps my biggest priority. I come to this with a very big bias, and that is both of my parents were teachers. My mom was a special education teacher, and my dad taught at a community college level. And with that background, I think I was probably in law school before I realized that some of my friends stopped at high school. If we can do one thing right, it should be that we're providing a strong education for our children, that the legacy we're leaving them is one that they can compete in a global economy. And if we're not doing that right, then everything else kind of pales in comparison. No Child Left Behind was an absolute disaster, in most part because it was adopted without taking into account local concerns and needs. Many of our local schools are doing just wonderful jobs, and yet when we adopt a program that doesn't ask teachers what the program should look like, it's probably doomed from the beginning, as No Child Left Behind has been. Here in California, we're in a very difficult bind. I still am amazed that we don't look off the shore of California for the resources. We're the only major oil producing state in the nation that doesn't charge an extraction fee for oil. Even Texas charges an oil extraction fee. This is a resource, a public resource that's been being taken out of the ground, and yet we don't charge them anything for it. They're taking it away for free. If we just follow the lead of Texas and Louisiana and the other states that have large oil presences, we could be generating billions of dollars to help fund our educational system. Yeah. But we also need to be looking at our educational system in a way that we're spending our dollars smarter rather than just more, but we're also spending it smarter. We need to be making sure that the dollars go directly towards the classroom, that we're providing our children with the best possible education. And one final thing on education, we also need to be retraining people. In this economy, the jobs aren't where they've always been, and we need to be retraining people so that the educational system matches the job needs.
I have a last question.
Yeah.
This is immigration.
Yeah.
Hot topic nationally, and especially for border states like California.
Sure.
What do you think state and federal government should be doing on this issue, and how is your approach going to affect Californians, and particularly those Californians, those people living in California who are undocumented immigrants?
Well, first and foremost, in terms of immigration, I think people have the expectation, and especially in a difficult economy, they have the expectation that the federal government does its job, that we have secure borders, that we make sure that people are following our laws, that whether somebody be a terrorist coming in to do our country harm, or whether it be somebody just crossing the border for economic or other reasons, that we have laws and that those laws of this nation should be enforced, and that we have secure borders to do that. I don't go as far as my opponent does. My opponent seems to believe that we can blame it all on children, that we should scrap the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which guarantees citizenship for those that are born here. That's an extreme view. It's one that's not even shared by John McCain or Carly Fiorina. But Elton Galgley has often been on the very extreme of his party, and I don't think that we need to go there. But I do think that the federal government has a responsibility, and that responsibility hasn't been met. And as a member of Congress, I would work to make sure that the federal government is living up to its end of the bargain.
Tim, thanks for being on Video Voter.
Of course, thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you, appreciate it.